Hey everyone! Okay, I'm back for the week. Hi. Um, I hope there's some people out there watching, and thank you so much for joining if you are. So a couple things first before we get started. I've tried my best. Hi! Hi Philip! Yeah, hi Andrew! Oh, thanks so much for joining. And sorry for not. And hi Allison! Sorry for not going a bit earlier. So I think next week I'm going to try and go a little bit earlier during the evening around 7:30 p.m. so that people on the East Coast could join for like 30 minutes longer. um, yeah, and then a couple things. I Let's see. I'm dearly, dearly hoping that internet will hold up today. I couldn't quite figure out a wire connection because it's like the router is like over there, so then it has to make its way around the room, and then but we did restart the router, so hopefully it's better today. Um, Fingers crossed again. No beer today because I forgot to get more beers that I like. And in general, I only drink tea anyways. So a few more things. For example, I've been archiving the past videos on my YouTube because I read that Twitch will take down the videos after I think 2 weeks. And so I've been slowly archiving them on YouTube, and it's the same handle as everywhere else, SXYWU, youtube.com/user/SXYWU. So if things start going down from Twitch, then you know where to find it. I hope I'm still online. Okay, because Twitch is freaking out on me a little bit. Anyways, okay, so last week I got started on my refactoring this old expenses app and then trying to get it. Ooh, I got a follower. Thank you, Silent J. Thank you so much for following. And also, can I say again how much I love that little kitty? Yeah. Okay, so last week I got started. This is generally kind of what I want the refactor to end up looking like. And then last week I got started and we got to this point, which is not the most impressive looking thing, but it's a start. And so this week I think what I want to try and do is refactor this a little bit and put some annotations of which week these are, and then also get started on making this little semicircle, and then hopefully I'll also be able to get to the categories. So that is this week's goal. So let's get started. And then let me know any questions you might have at any point. And also, actually, I forgot to mention, I added a few more commands in the chat. So if at any time you want to know what am I doing, you can do bang, what are you doing? And then you can find the whole list of commands on bang commands, I think. So yeah. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do is take this out of app.js and then bring this into usually calling something graph. Oh, maybe I'll call it expenses.js. Let's see. Oh, that's not sense. So, and usually for things that are D3 related or visualizations, I like making a new folder called visualizations. So I'll put everything that are visualizations in there, and I'll just call this expenses.js. Oh no. Close. Let's see. Adam. Okay. Let's reopen the project. Expenses Week2. Oh, I spent the whole day today, like, doing logistics, answering email, like, sending invoices, like, booking flights. Mondays are my logistics days. I don't have any, like, cool name for it, like some people, like, I know there's the Makeover Mondays. I don't have any cool name, like, it's just Logistics Mondays, which always exhausts me. But I've been really looking forward to this. Oh, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. I actually got to go down to San Diego with a few friends for a friend's wedding, so that was really awesome. And we just ate a lot the whole time. And so this morning I woke up and I was like, I think my stomach is sore from all the eating we did this past weekend. Yeah, okay. So expenses.js, so I started moving some of the things. And then let me start cleaning up app.js. Let's see. So usually, like in app, I like to just have that as the place I call all of my React components. And unless like some function, like some interaction, user interaction needs like all of the data, or unless some UI action is propagated through all of the components, like I just put the data and the interaction and stuff in the specific component that it's originated from. So like app.js usually only, it's like kind of like skeleton. Let's see. Although expenses, let me at least keep this part where I'm calculating the data in here for now, I think. Oh wait, no, I think, so, and the other way that I kind of like justify where I put things is like, I like to kind of like general processing of the data, I like to put it in app.js, and anything specific to how the data is actually rendered, I like to put it into the component that's going to do the rendering. So, let's see. Please tell me Twitch is still working and people are actually there and I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, so import expenses from, yay! I'm glad, thank you so much. Okay. Visualizations, expenses. Let's see. So nothing, yes, so that is working as intended. And then let me return expenses. And then, so that simulation is not defined. Ooh, okay. I need to take these out. Usually I don't need a constructor either. Oh, okay, now I have to go clean up expenses. Like, this is like really unglamorous. So now it should show up as it did before. Cool, okay. Now let me slowly start to, let's see, and then I like doing this thing where I define props. I could be like using React wrong, but what I like to do is I start defining some of the things that I want to pass into my children components as props. And so for example, I want to pass in my expenses. Oh, oops, I forgot to do the, so my expenses, and then here's this.state is equal to expenses is empty at the very beginning, and then I pass in, oh, actually, so let's pass in width and height and margin. I'll define radius, and actually margin might be good defined in expenses also. And then, so I define props, and then usually I pass down my props, and then I also pass down my state, to share. Let's see. Oh, it's 3 of them. Okay. 3 dots. Yay! And then now refactoring this size, so should get width and height from my parent, radius, X scale simulation, let's see, expenses, I should be getting from my parent, and then expenses, I've already processed the data in app.js, so now this should break, and then now instead of .state expenses, I should be doing .props.expenses, and then I believe there's probably width and height in here maybe. Oh, there we go. Yes, expenses is still not defined. Ah, okay. Okay, now I need to actually start thinking about what I'm doing. So let's start from, okay, the X scale. So instead of component will mount, actually I think I can do that on component will mount. So on component will mount, I want to set the range of my X scale with the width that I was passed in, and then where else am I using width? So actually I don't think I need to pass in height. So width I want to define as a whole app thing, but height should be individually for each visualization. So I think I can get away with just putting height in each of the visualizations. So which means this dot props dot width, and then here over here I erase this, and then expenses line 16. Line 16 I don't have width. Okay, so here I can say simulation.force, this.props.width. Does anyone know if we're past props within the constructor? I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm just going to chain that on tick, and then, yes, perfect. Nothing should be happening. Okay. Let's see. And now, okay, component and mount. And then I think, so let's start thinking about this. So when component dim mount, usually because I'm setting the expenses on component will mount, I think what I want to do is calculate the data. Let me create a function that's calculating the data and put this in there. And then I'll do that once in component dim mount. And then I'll do that again in component did update. Let's see. So let's make sure this is working. Oh, and then earlier today, well, let's make sure this works first. Okay, so in component, after component did mount and component did update, then I can just use expenses, this dot props dot expenses, and then here also this dot props dot expenses. And that should work. Line 53, expenses is not defined. Really? Line 53? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, let me do a debugger. So it's saying that this expenses is not defined, but that doesn't make any sense because that's an input. It shouldn't be. That's not the same as the expenses here. Oh, this dot props dot expenses. It says, oh, haha, haha. That was stupid. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I am taking the expenses that's been passed to me. Thank you so much, Robert. So Robert says may need to write var expenses. So what I was doing is I'm taking the expenses that's been passed to me from my parent app, and then usually what I like to do is I'll then go ahead and calculate some things for it that I might need for rendering the data. And in which case I just stick that as this dot expenses. I don't stick that into state because like I don't think of that as data that will change when the user interacts. So I guess that's how I think about state in React, which is like data that's there that like if the user or like so it's state that user might interact with and change. But then this is like data that I'm taking the raw data and then I'm manipulating it to put it onto the screen. So then I just put it onto the component itself, this dot expenses. And then I think here, in which case this should be this dot expenses because I want to be taking, it could be either, but I want to be taking the max, the extent on what I've just calculated. And then here, now that I have it calculated with the x and y values, then I can just use this dot expenses instead of this dot props expenses. Yay! Okay, so I moved it over. I feel like I should just be doing this from the very beginning instead of like wasting you guys' time for like 15 minutes. Okay, so let's see. Committing. So this one was create expenses.js, move graph code from app to expenses. Cool. Okay, now that I've done that, now actually this time around I want to make a var scale. So remember how, I don't know if you guys remember, but last week I struggled a little bit in trying to come up with like the focus Y of like where to put each row, and then I like multiplied it by 120. But actually I was thinking about it a bit more, and I should have just used a Y scale where the extent is basically the weeks, the min week and max week, and then I can just use the range as the 0 to height that I have defined here. So d3.scale band, no, it should be scale quantize because right now I want it scale linear. Yeah, actually scale linear because it's a continuous domain of weeks and then a continuous output, a continuous range. So dot domain, see. Actually, I should be defining the range. So go from height minus margin dot, so my 0 is the bottom, so like because screen space it goes 0 increasing from my left to right on the x, and then it goes from 0 to increasing going down, so then the bottom of my y scale, I want it to be the height of my SVG minus my whatever margin bottom I've set. And I want the top to be margin dot top. Yes. Cool. And then this should also be set here. Amount scale dot domain. Okay. So now I can just find var weeks extent equals d3.extent, excuse me, this dot props dot expenses, and I want to be using d3.time week dot floor. Actually, let me just say var week floor d3, just week floor is no. I'll just keep calling d3.time week, and then so that should give me the weeks extent. Let's see. Let me plus this a bit. Let me comment this out for now, which is actually going to give me more errors. Okay, so the extent is from Sunday, May 14th to Sunday, June 18th. Perfect. And then so I should be able to just put that on my Y scale as my domain. And then now instead of using the rows thing that I was trying to do last week, I could just say Y scale and then expense. So actually my week is equal to expenses new date. Let's see. Actually, I don't need the sort by anymore because I have the Y scale. So now this is back to weeks and then expenses, and the key is the week string. And then I want to just turn that into a date object. And then now I should be able to just use that week as my focus Y. Theoretically. I hope this works. Yay! Okay, awesome. So I've had that, I've refactored that. Let me make the height a bit smaller. So let's say 500. That's a little too small. 600. There we go. 26 minutes of work and it looks exactly the same. It's my life. Okay. Commit that. So expenses, turn rows, So use Y scale instead of rows. And then I'm actually going to do something to the data so that like it's kind of bothering me that there's like this 1 week that only has one thing. So then I was thinking of just taking that out for this example app's sake. So that's my expenses.csv, or no, I'm using my JSON. So expenses.json. Let's see, so that's 618. I think that's the one that's creating that. Cool. Awesome. All right, is it just me or did the visualization change? Because weren't these two circles over here before? So let's see. Do you guys have any questions so far of what I've been doing or why? Let's see, so this is Friday, that's right. And then this is, and this is Saturday, so that looks right. Does that mean my previous way of calculating was wrong? No. Oh, okay, so there is still circles down here, if you guys can see, and then it's just being rendered below. Interesting. Okay, so this one is being rendered as 631. Why is that? Okay, so this one is, so the date is May 19th, and that's, yeah, that should be fine because my minimum is May 14th, so that should be rendered above the fold. Okay, let's debug why this is. So let's see. Okay, debugger. So my this.pops.expenses, this is my data, and then let's just use my very last one. Yes, okay, let's just use the very last one and then test my Y scale, which is, so so I want to do this.pops.data and then 48, which is my last one, except I also want to be doing d3.timeweek.floor. I think it was time week. Oh, d3 is not defined. Okay, well that's fine. I'll just use the actual date. Date 48 of undefined. Nice. Oh, this .props.expenses. $480. That sounds right, doesn't it? Oh, okay. It's because I give it height divided by 2. Because I center, I do simulation center. D3 calculates like it takes my it takes like the X and Y I want it to go to, but then like shifts it around to like what should be the center or something. So I think actually if I just do that, then it should go to exactly where I want it to. So I think force center is really nice when we have when we don't calculate an exact x and y to go towards, and we're just doing Les Mis or something, and then we want all of the circles to gravitate towards the center of the screen that we define instead of gravitating towards 0, 0 up in the corner. But now that I've manually started to calculate the x and y foci, I think I should be able to get away with not using it. Actually, I probably shouldn't be using it. So let me try that. Oh, so Andrew asks, what exactly is the point of refactoring code? Is it mostly for organization and readability? Yeah. So the reason why I started doing this is because last week I had it all in app.js, but then if you take a look at even kind of what I have in mind, there's the part that's the expenses, and there's the part that's the categories, and here's the part that's kind of being able to add and edit the expenses. So because of that, there's going to be multiple different components for my React application. And so I wanted it to be able to kind of take it out and then of the app and then make it into its own component. And then so after this, I'm going to start making the categories component and all of that. Yes. Yeah. So thank you very much for asking. Let's see. Okay. And okay, so take out the force center. Yay! Okay, so I think this should now be exactly what I think this should be. Yes. Exactly what I expect. Awesome. So now that we have that, okay. Now what I want to do is let me make the semicircle. Yeah. Okay. So that one was, actually, let me put that as into a group called weeks, because I think I want to be able to, let me think about this. So actually, I think what I want to do is I need to, so this that I have currently, it's all of the expenses. So then I want to be able to, I want to shift that down, and then so that I have room to create the expenses semicircle. So let me start doing that. I think for now all I'm going to do is double the height, and then I think I'm going to give it, well, let me give it a, and then I'm going to add height to the focus Y. So that pushes it down, cool. And then I'm going to give it some more room on the left and the right. And then to form the semicircle. Okay, so I need to think about this a little bit. Then, so here I'm calculating all of the expenses, but then for just 1 week's worth of expenses, I want to form a semicircle. So let's remember state is equal to, and then let me have a state called selected week, and let me default that to let me default that to the most recent week. So var selected week. So actually, so the most recent week, so then var selected week should be week's extent, and it should be the second thing in the second element in the week's extent array, because that will be the max. Then, and I think now what we gotta do is for the week that matches